Sometimes simple is all you want and it's all you need. The CL500 is the latest bike in Honda's range to utilise that parallel twin 500cc motor, and obviously the CL badge and the iconic exhaust look back at previous CL models. This bike has got a few accessories on it. I will point that out straight away. So these hand guards, this and this, don't come as standard on the bike, and to be honest, I'm not sure this actually works, but more on that later. The engine itself is a very well-known unit, so I'm not going to spend a load of time talking through that. What I am going to do is put all of the vital statistics on the screen here, and then you can take a look at that for yourself, and we'll go straight into the riding section. To be honest, there's not really that much I can add about this engine that hasn't already been spoken about in countless videos, including my own. We've known this engine for a long time. It's been around for donkey's years. This venerable 500cc parallel twin is a great little unit. It's proved to be reliable. It's a pretty bomb-proof, under-stressed engine, and it will just chug away all day long. It's lovely and soft, the power delivery, everything is just really nice and soft and gentle. If you're looking for an A2 licensed bike, if you're a new rider, if you're coming up to your first sort of big-ish bike, then this is not going to be intimidating. Sometimes it's nicer to ride an underpowered engine or an underpowered bike where you can feel like you're really ragging it, where you can get the throttle on the stops. There's a lot to be said for that. And this is a cracking little motor. In the time I've had this bike, I've ridden it on the motorway, I rode it down the M11 and the A14, and it held its own there. It would comfortably cruise along 70, 75, and it would do it all day long, no complaints whatsoever. It's all very direct, there's no ride-by-wire, it's very much back to basics, and it just does what you'd expect it to do. So motorways, it's pretty, it behaves itself. Through town, obviously it's perfect, it's a great urban bike, but then when you get out in the twisty B roads, it's good. Yeah, you have to wind it up a little bit, you know, it's not immediate, you have to work at it, you have to keep your momentum going. I do anyway, given the weight that I've got on the bike, but it still thrums around really nicely. This is not going to be for doing your long distance touring. It's certainly not comfortable enough for that, and we'll talk about that in the next section. But yes, you do snick through the gears pretty quickly, but there's a nice flexibility about the engine with that, matched with that gearbox. You don't have to continually kind of chomp up and down the gearbox. You can leave it in a high gear and just let the motor pull it through. It's quite happy doing that. I leave it in fourth gear here, we're down to 25. Pulls out there fine, takes a while, but it'll do that with no problem. So a nice flexible engine, nice flexible slick gearbox. I've had no problems with that at all, up or down, and it just makes for a very easy bike to live with. I think it's a perfect bike for buzzing around on. You know, if you live down by the coast, this would be a perfect bike to have in the garage to drag out, have a ride along the front, up into the countryside to your favourite coffee stop. And yeah, you have a hell of a lot of fun on it. Now I'll talk about ergonomics next, because I touched on that earlier on in terms of comfort, and actually from an ergonomic point of view it's pretty good. I'm 5'10" with a 32-inch inside leg. I fit this bike pretty well. I can flat foot it obviously very easily with the bend on my leg. The seat height is very manageable. It's very narrow, it's a very slim bike. Which way should we go? This way. It's very easy to live with, to move around. If you're smaller of stature, then it's a really good option in that sense. Great fun to ride, whether that's on the bigger roads or if you head down into the more sort of twisty, gnarly stuff, which we might do, although the weather is turning on me a little bit. They didn't say it was going to rain until later, but of got a bit of drizzle going on here, so apologies if I keep wiping the camera lens. Nadgery little lanes, it's brilliant. It stops on a sixpence. It's really easy to turn. It just feels very light, very manageable. A really friendly bike. It's got a bench seat on it. This one is a particularly crappy brown looking one. Not that I don't like brown seats, this is just a plain sort of vinyl slab seat. Looks okay on the bike, and for short spells it's pretty good. It's nicely padded, pretty comfortable. When I picked this up from Honda, I took a kind of semi-scenic route home, which took a couple of hours. After an hour and a bit, I was really looking for somewhere to stop and get off and have a bit of a stretch. Isn't the most comfortable seat in the world, but the rest of the ergonomics is good. I've got these kind of nice sort of high rise bars, nice width. Let's go this way actually, find somewhere a bit more interesting. But yeah, bars are in a nice position actually. As I say, for my frame and my size, it's pretty comfortable. As I say, the seat isn't that great, but outside of that, the actual hand bum feet position is good. This has got rally pegs on it. It's got some sort of pack on it. I'll have a look at that kind of separately from this. So there's a few bits that are not standard. The most obvious ones are the hand guards, headlight surround, and high fender. They're all an extra, and I think they only come in that white colour, which is a little bit garish. It does clash a little bit. Largely cosmetic, and people can decide whether they like the look of it or not. I don't mind it. If it was mine, I'd take the high fender off. I think that just looks weird and out of place. You've got a second fender underneath it anyway, so it is just for looks, and all it does is in reality at high speed on windy days it acts like a sail. So I'd get that off. The hand guards are surprisingly effective. I'll say some motorway work on this at 70 miles an hour plus, and these actually did a really good job at keeping the wind off. Obviously there's not much in the way of protection if you were to crash, but in terms of wind deflectors they work really well. And the same for that little headlight surround with the fly screen. I actually quite like that. I think it looks nice on the bike. If it was black or colour coded to the bike, then yeah, that would look the part. The high fender, not for me, that one. This has got an optional side bag, which is surprisingly roomy actually. You can get quite a lot of stuff in it. At the moment I've got a digital SLR camera, my microphone set, and a mini tripod tucked in there with plenty of room. It's a useful kind of thing to have on the bike if you just want to shove your waterproofs or a lock or your sunglasses or a bit of shopping or whatever it might be. It's quite a nice option. No idea what the price is. I'll find it and put it on the screen up here. But yeah, from an ergonomics point of view, it's actually a pretty decent setup. So with the engine and ergonomics out of the way, I guess it's time to turn my attention to suspension. And as like all of the rest of the 500 range, it's pretty much the same setup. Non-adjustable forks. Oh, there you go. Where was I? Yes, suspension. Right, so like the rest of the 500 range, it's a very straightforward non-adjustable front forks and non-adjustable rear. I don't know, I'll have a check. Maybe you can put preload in it, but other than that it's a very basic setup, and it works okay. It works okay for what this bike is and for what its intended use is. It's a little bit bouncy, and I found that with pretty much all of the 500s, maybe with, I was going to say with the exception of the CB500X, but no, that's still a bit bouncy. So it is, you know, a bouncy ride up and down. The important thing is that it feels like you've got decent control. You get a decent amount of feel up through the forks and the rear end. It's not so bouncy that it makes you feel seasick, but I have noticed that when you start to push it into corners a little bit harder, it doesn't get unsettled. It just, you kind of reach its limitations pretty quickly. But as an all-purpose, do what you need to do, bounce around town, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Overall, it's hard to dislike this bike, really. You know, it is what it is. It costs what it costs. It is at the budget end. but it's a lot of fun, it's well put together, quite a charming machine, it's quite endearing really. There's nothing that you get particularly angry about with it. Yeah, the looks are, well, I think the looks are not too bad. I think that mudguard at the front really does, for me, not work. It does look like a little bit of an afterthought. The other plastic bits are good. The exhaust is what it is. I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to ape that CL, and they've done a pretty good job with it, but you know, there's limitations on what they can do with that. But all in all, it's just a lovely little bike. That's the best way I can describe it. This has got a few extras on it. There's a 12 volt power supply here, which is a bit of a carbuncle really. I don't know, I was talking to the guys at Honda when I picked it up, and I was like, why didn't they put it down there? But if you're going to clamp something to your handlebars, you can only really clamp them over this or there, so it seems to kind of make a feature out of it. This has got heated grips on it as well, which I haven't tried out because it's not very cold. There's a little button on the controller here. There's adventure pegs, the bag. I don't think it's a random collection of parts that have been put on. I think it is a specific pack, so I'll put those details on the screen. I think it's one of those bikes that will sell well. I think if you're more conscious of image, then you're probably going to go after a Triumph Scrambler 900 or a Fantic Caballero, something like that. But for what it is, I think it's a good little thing. I've had a lot of fun on it. You can really buzz it around, really easy to control, really easy to ride, very friendly. It's just got that nice sort of sunshiny feel about it, and I think that's why I said about being down by the coast. I don't know why, I don't know if it's the colour, I don't know what it is. For me it's just got that kind of little oceanside surf kind of feel about it. Yeah, Honda have done a good job with it. It's another string to their 500cc parallel twin bow, and it's a good one at that. It's got Dunlop mixed tour tyres on it, so let's see if it does actually scramble. I think I probably will find the limits of the suspension even on a simple trail like this. A tree is down. I wonder if that's movable. No, definitely not. Okay, well, I'm not getting around that, and I'm not getting over it either. Hopefully that'll get cleared. You do wonder sometimes actually if that's done on purpose. It is a byway opener to all traffic down here, so you can ride bikes and drive cars down here with no problem. Okay, well, we'll go and find somewhere else to test it out. Let's try that again then. Now there's no pretenses that this is an off-road bike, obviously. It's got those kind of Scrambler vibes, but it's very much an urban Scrambler. But it doesn't hurt to take it down some crap and see what it's like. And yeah, as I said straight away, your limitations are going to be on the suspension, and I am going to just bounce my way through here. And it's interesting, having been down here on quite a few other adventure bikes, the Africa Twin just trolls straight through here. I've recently ridden a Tenere 700 through here, and the Suzuki DE, they just, it will do it. I'm not sure you'd have that much fun doing it. All it does highlight is just how uncomfortable that seat is. But yeah, what the hell, might as well give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? Okay. Big puddles. Standing up, if you're above 5'6", 5'7", I think probably not. You're having to bend over quite a lot. Yeah, standing doesn't really work. You're having to crouch a little bit too much. Let's just do a little quick brief camera angle change. There we go. And actually these tyres are the same tyres that were on the Suzuki 800DE, these mixed tours, and they're pretty good. As long as it doesn't get too muddy. But if this is the sort of exploring that you want to do, a little bit of adventuring and off-roading, then the CL500, oh, it's a big gulp, will do that. Oh, that was a big hit. Yeah, I found the bottom of the suspension there. But as I say, it's not at all what this was designed for. I just thought I'd trip it through here to see what's going on. And yeah, if you want to or you need to, you can do. But there are limitations. But at least down this trail, there's no tree in the way so far. I was thinking it was. And I'll avoid that puddle, thank you very much. So in summary then, it's a fun little bike. It's not pretending to be anything. It's not. It's just a good, honest, straightforward little urban scrambler. Decently priced, decently built, bomb-proof engine. You're going to have a lot of fun on it. I wouldn't want to travel around the world with it or cross Europe on it, but for buzzing around the countryside, up and down the seafront and around town, it's a lovely little thing. As I say, very difficult to dislike it. It's quite a charming little machine. So if you do have any questions, then let me know in the comment section down below. And all that leaves me to say is until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.